Okay, as I was saying, we have chained up and we've come down this way through those stitches with, we're going to start using the simple stitch. And I chained 6. So we take a 7th stitch or pull up a loop into one of the stitches on the original row. So we end up working like so. And now, where in usual Tunisian crochet, you pull through 1 and then go through 2 all the way across the row. You're pulling through 2 because you want 6 stitches, but you're joining this bottom, and this is your main piece, or we'll call it your main piece. It'll become clearer as we continue. So yarn over, pull through 2, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I wanted to have 6 and I had chained 6. So now see what happens here? And when you see the end, you'll see it's just the most beautiful edge to do along. So let's continue. We want to go, this takes care of this first loop, horizontal bar. We want to go through the horizontal bar, pull up 2, count this as 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're always counting in Tunisian crochet. Then we're going to go into the next horizontal bar on the bottom. So through there, that makes 7. Now we want to decrease. We're yarn over pulling through 2. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how it's going? This is how I did, but maybe I did 4 or 3 to do an edge on that placemat that I showed you earlier. Okay, so now let's go back here. And we're skipping that first one. Let me reiterate that. First horizontal bar is already taken up by that one. So we go through the second one. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the 7th one we grab from the originating row. So here we go, pull up a loop, yarn over, and we're decreasing. So we end up with 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is kind of the way that interlac is. Of course, interlac is used in an entirely different way, but it's very much a linked stitch sort of an application. And there are lots and lots of videos on YouTube for interlac. But I'm showing you specifically on the big hooks and big yarn. So we'll just continue and do all 10 of these rows, and you can have a look at how it looks and what it looks like when you turn it. So here's 1. Now we're going to have 2, 3. This yarn is real easy to see. It's wonderful. 4, 5, 6, and then come down to the originating row and go through the horizontal bar. That's your 7th stitch. Yarn over, decrease down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can look at it again, see how it works. So it's a simple stitch, but it's going vertical to your horizontal beginning row. So just follow me. I'm not going to talk through this. Just follow me. You can pause me if you want and come back to it, or you can just continue on with me. But we're just going to get through all 10 rows of this. You want to be counting every time. Here's 3, there's 6, here's your 7. If you can count, you'll know right away when you make a mistake. So there are 7 loops now. Yarn over, pull through 2 makes it come down to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 7th one down here. Yarn over, decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go looking for your 7th bottom row stitch. Yarn over, pull through 2 to decrease. Yarn over, pull through 2 all the way back. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down below for your connecting stitch. Almost to the end. Through 2 to decrease. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last row of this. 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6. And remember, the last stitch we always want to have, of the three bars, you want to have 2 on top. We're now to the last stitch of that originating row. And then through 2 to decrease to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now here you go. Isn't that lovely? And look how flat and nice it is. And how consistent your stitches on the edge. Each one. That's why it's so wonderful. If I were to have done a placemat or something, I would have already finished. Right here would be your placemat, or the body of your placemat. I would come and put this blanket edge. Say this was a blanket. And then this is your blanket edge. Or make it shorter and it's your placemat edge. So it gives this lovely, flat, stable edge to everything. Now, what's fun is if you say chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you turn. You see how the back of the simple stitch looks? Now, if you pick this up and you go in here, and we want to use the bumps because it's the first row. So you have 1, 2, I should have done that chaining just a little looser. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you go in that, you want this row to actually be here. So you go in the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, because we're linked, we're not doing just a standard row. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get a couple of these done and you can see the difference. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go down below for your linked stitch right here. And yarn over, pull through 2 to decrease 1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's see if you can see what a nice textural change. This leaves a pattern when you have the linked stitches one row on top of the other. You could run a color through here, a ribbon through here. You can leave it alone and have it just be a lacy pattern, and then the whole texture changes. Let me do one or two more rows so you can see. And this makes your scarf reversible, because this is that, and now the back of this simple stitch is going to be in this section. So the back of the scarf is just going to be the reverse, but it's going to be the alternating panels of front and back of the simple stitch, which I think in this yarn ends up being very pretty, if that makes sense. And then in between is going to be this nice little eyelet-y sort of thing. But look what a nice, flat, lovely item it creates. It's actually, it ends up being more like a cowl. If you were to do this long enough to go around the neck, let the points overlap and put a beautiful button or rose or any number of things, you'd have a beautiful cowl. And then do a matching hat the same way I told you before. Just measure how many stitches per inch, make it about 20 inches. When you get above 6 inches, start decreasing evenly until you get down to about 1/3 of what you've started with, or 10 or 12 stitches actually. And then you can just pull off a long tail, run it through the top stitches, pull it tight, run it down the seam, and you have a lovely matching hat. So there you go for that. I'm going to take a break and I'll be back to try some more, show you more.